Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Willfully Wrought. My name is William, and and I can give me a second. My audio screwed up. I can hear myself twice in my headset. So that's today.
That's all right. And my name is Will. And I, uh, knowing what we're going to talk about, decided to bring rubber duckies on my shirt because I figured we could use some levity where we can find it.
Well, I appreciate the small things that happen that are wrong because things like that kind of keep the world going. It's responses to terrible things or what we can control, not the terrible things that happen. So,
Right, right.
I just wanted to take a moment and thank our audience for joining us for our third broadcast. We wanted to start doing a little more current content. Of course, we have like a select thing, a long list of select things we've covered and wish to cover in the future. But, there's also some joy, sadness, and a bit of awareness that comes with covering things as they go on in the world around us. So taking some time to do that is really important, and sharing that with our audience always feels nice.
Yeah, 100%. It always does. How do you want to kick off, man? Like, well, first off, how was your week? Just personally.
Personally, I mean, I've had an all right week. It hasn't been the best week, and it hasn't been the worst week. Like, the sky's partly cloudy, but the weather's all right. It's there's nothing of note to really consider. There was a lot of work to get done. Some of it got done, some of it didn't. I still need to fold my laundry, but at least it's been washed and dried.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Been a very, very busy week. Busy week filled with some some big feelings. but we're getting through it. We're making our way through it. Well, cool. Well, I figure today with our current events talk, I figure we flip-flop. Something exciting, positive, something cool with something a little more serious. Does that work for you?
I mean, we can give that a shot. I don't know how many stories I've got, but I'm going to start with something that I find somewhere in the middle of that. It's one of the things that caught my eye when I was going over the headlines as they came up in this week, and there was an eruption of a volcano in Indonesia, Mount Marapi. It erupted, and it's in a column of ash up into the air. It was like 1.5 kilometers high. And of course, if you live anywhere around that, that's genuinely exceedingly frightening. Of course, you chose to live near a volcano. Maybe you didn't choose to live near a volcano. Maybe that's just where your family was. But now the earth is literally spewing ash into the sky. So of course, there's no reported casualties as of yet. The Indonesian government has issued, hey, if you're going to be around here, make sure you've got your face covered. There's a lot of ash in there. We want to prevent respiratory issues. And there is an exclusion zone for a very large perimeter surrounding the volcano. And, I've always found volcanoes to be one of the coolest things ever. Of course, portents of natural disasters that bury cities in ash and leave humans in odd things for the future humans to speculate about are terrifying. But volcanoes, just as a raw, powerful thing that happens, are amazing.
I mean, you yourself has said that you are an evil genius, so it doesn't beg any question that you would be a Bond villain looking for your new lair. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, given the resources, I think that anyone would make the choice to live in a volcano lair. If you had the resources to make that decision, like, yes, I will live, and I would absolutely do that, and I'd put a casino out front.
A casino with like a moat with great white sharks, right?
No, that's just, it would mean it'd be a volcanic island. So the sharks would be natural. I don't need to expend any additional cost. All the cost would go into the creation of the casino front to draw people in, casino resort. And, even though it's not an island in the middle of the ocean, there'd be pools and slides and 24-hour bars. Of course there's gambling, but the secret villain layer is, really close to some magma tube somewhere for an amazing showdown.
That
uh, needs a vertical hangar for a super helicopter. Yes, yes, it does. I've always wanted a super helicopter.
So what I'm trying to remember, what was the latest volcano that has erupted before this? Because this is in Indonesia. Because I was trying to remember, because we were kind of going over stories and I couldn't find what the most recent one before this was. I
There
feel
was
like
an
something
yeah,
has,
there was
go ahead.
there was a recent eruption in Iceland by the name of the volcano, which I will never be able to pronounce, though the struggle would be likely entertaining to see. I don't know. I don't know how to search for the name of that volcano, but I think it starts with an E. But it's got like 17 more E's,
Yep.
and I don't know how to start that one.
Fair enough. So yeah, well, I'm definitely going to be keeping tabs on that, just because, yeah, when an eruption always happens, we don't want another Mount Vesuvius.
Oh,
So
absolutely not.
we learned a lot from that particular event.
I mean, we're still learning and making some guesses. I mean, it happened like, well, not before recorded history, but most of the history of the volcano was buried under the ash in the eruption. So we're still piecing together things.
One might say that the volcano encased its own history in
That's true.
in that event. So think about that, dear viewers. I wanted to do something. Our next story, I wanted to talk about something a little more. I don't know. It's just cool. It's science. It's science.
Yes.
Science is sciencing super hard right now, guys. We have dire wolves are back. They're not just something that were made up by George R. R. Martin for Sansa and Jon Snow to keep around. They're real and they're back.
So I remember this headline hitting, and I remember like a bunch of controversial things, but it's really way more fun to just say dire wolves are back. It's super neat. So the reading that I did on it, the scientists basically they took dire wolf DNA and spliced it onto the DNA of some other wolf species.
Gray wolf, I believe.
Yeah. It was the gray wolf, and they incubated the animals when they were born, and as puppies they tested their DNA against what they had historically, and it's a 99% match, and that's
Which
just
is awesome.
super awesome. Yeah, man. When
super cool.
it actually really is. Like when you were bringing this up when we were talking about some of the topics, and Roboticus beat me to it.
Yeah.
Like this is Jurassic Park. Like it's John Hammond with a little anime and Dino DNA. Like it's exactly the thing. They filled it. They took the gray wolf DNA and they spliced onto the dire wolf DNA, and that's exactly what happened. And I remember like Jurassic Park was one of my favorite books, and there was a long monologue from Ian Malcolm, who was just I don't remember if he was talking to John Hammond or if he was talking to someone else. Just
he talks to hear himself talk. That is Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, where he was just like, how could you be so audacious as to take a fragment and fill it in with a frog? I really enjoyed that in particular, and I thought it was great.
I know that the company that has done this want to next do the dodo. They want to bring the dodo back, and this is all building up to them their grand opus, which is bringing back a woolly mammoth.
I think that's really cool. Do you think that they're going to charge more for woolly mammoth rides than they charge for like elephant rides?
I don't know where they're going to put the woolly mammoths with how warm the earth is getting, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I mean, it's plenty cold in some places still. Like there's still permafrost. All right.
There still is. Yeah. Unfortunately, they need to send them to like Russia, parts of Russia in the Arctic tundra over there.
Put it on the North Coast in the Atlantic Circle, charge for some boat rides out there. I think it'd probably pan out great for the tourism.
I think it would. I think not that the Arctic Circle is hurting for tourism right now, but But I know some penguins that would love the attention. So, so
You know penguins. I love this.
rubber ducky shirt.
So, uh, part of my volcano research led
Yeah.
to another geological study that was done. They've been doing some really deep geological scanning under North America, from Milwaukee, like out to Alabama, out to Nevada. They've been the University of Texas at Austin has been using sonar to scan as deeply into the earth as they can, which ranges at about now apparently 600 kilometers into the mantle
Oh, wow.
of the earth, which to me is just that's absolutely wild.
That is. That is.
And the readings have come back showing that the North American tectonic plate, the plate that our continent rides on as it butts up against the Oceanic plate, appears to be melting. Like it has this massive funnel shape, where it looks like the plate is melting down into the subduction zone. And they're just really surprised that this is the shape that came up after this huge. I mean, think about the range from Nevada to Milwaukee to Alabama. Like that's most of the continental United States.
Yeah.
And they've been doing these scans since 2019, and it's just really, really interesting to think that everything that I've ever learned about like geology, saying that these plates kind of bump into each other, but other than riding around on the mantle, they're fairly static. Like it's just it's
Right.
the crust of the earth as it floats on the mantle. But the idea that even the plate that's not getting subducted, the plate that's riding on the top of the other, begins to melt and has a drip effect down into the mantle. I just found that to be amazing and wildly interesting.
That's cool. Yeah. So this kind of reminds me, well, okay, first off with that story, sounds like you have now found where you want to put your down payment for your evil lair in the crust of the earth. You never know where it's gonna end up. Just be floating around. But the second, have you heard about, I don't know why, I went down a rabbit hole, which is kind of a joke in and of itself. I went down a rabbit hole on how deep people have dug into the earth. How
Yeah.
deep people have dug. And the deepest hole, I believe it's that record is held by the Russians. They just dug a hole to see how deep they could go.
Yeah.
And it's not, in the grand scheme of things, like it's super deep for us. It's like a mile and a half or 2 miles down, something like, or maybe even further.
Well, yeah, my recollection says 7 kilometers.
7 kilometers. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, that's with no Googling whatsoever. That's just off the top of my head.
So lot deep for us. Like
Yes.
it's an incredible distance. They're not even past the first layer of the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
And they had to stop because the Earth's crust got too hard. They haven't developed the technology to dig deeper.
Well, and that's a really high cost. I can understand like any governmental body being like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we're digging a hole." "What for?" "To dig a hole."
I mean, yeah.
Hey, Roboticus, thank you. 7.619 miles.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to try to convert that to kilometers, but I knew it had a 7 in it. So I get points for numbers.
Let's just say it's just a little bit longer than Sung Jin Woo would run on a daily basis.
Yeah.
For all you solo leveling fans out there.
No, it was I remember reading about that a long time ago. And when I first read like, 7 miles, like, I lived out in the country, I'm like, oh, it's like it's more than 7 miles to the grocery store. That's not a big deal. But have you ever gone outside and tried to dig a hole?
Yeah, you get about 3 feet and you're tired.
You make it to 3. Okay, you're young. 3 feet. 3 feet's all right.
Yeah, right.
If unless you've got an excavator, like even one of the mini ones you can rent, or unless you're going to be paying a contract company, like man, once you get down like a foot, 2 foot, you got to start digging the hole a lot wider, and you got to move a
Yep.
lot more earth. Your body starts wearing out, your ankles hurt. Uh, like, 7 miles is absolutely wild.
Yeah,
It just blows my mind, honestly.
and and it should few things in the world make me really realize like our place in the universe. But knowing the fact that we've dug as a species, we have dug 7 feet into the ground, and we aren't even like maybe 2% through the Earth's crust.
Oh, I mean,
Amazing.
I mean, yeah. Is it even 1%? Like,
I mean, yeah.
I don't remember the diameter of the Earth. I know it's something like 8,000 miles, the
Yeah.
circumference, but I don't remember. I'm sure there's people that can do the math, and I could just Google it, but I feel weak spirited when I Google things when I'm trying to recall it from my brain and just have that considered. But no, I think the Earth's crust itself is supposedly something like 20 miles thick,
Yeah.
like in general at sea level around the world. So yeah, only 7 miles is 40% of the way through the crust. Never mind that the crust is just the shell on the mantle above the core.
Yep.
It's just yeah.
And it gets hotter the deeper you go.
Oh yeah. Well,
The deeper you dig.
yeah. Well, it really kind of blows my mind that at 7 miles it's too hot to dig.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna have drill heads. Wow,
Yep.
where did we do so much geology? Where did this come from? So like you've got to have like the right tools. Like you're not just buying a drill from Home Depot and putting it on the end of a crane. Like you have to have the right type of drill head that's specially
Mhm.
designed to dig through hard rock over
Yep.
long periods of time. It's already engineered to be heat resistant. They're already going to be using lubricant and liquids that they run down the hole and run back out of the hole in order to keep the drill head cool enough to dig. And even with all of that, it just got too hot to keep going. I'm sure it kept destroying hardware, and
Oh,
funding dried up
absolutely.
pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
it's then once again, it's only 7 miles down out of how incredibly thick the earth is.
I will say, there for a little bit, and even this is within because this happened a few years ago. Like within our lifetime, they did this digging, right?
I thought it was like in the 70s, but it's probably the 90s because my brain doesn't recollect time very well.
I believe it was the 90s. I could be wrong, but we're not gonna fact check because we're here
Yeah.
for fun, right? We're just spitting the shit. Um, but they uh sorry, it left my head. It came back. The Russians tend to do things to spite other countries in the world. And that's
Yeah.
where they get that. So it doesn't matter if they're the first to space, if there's nothing to do up there. They did it first, and they were better than other countries. So they were the first to space. Um, they might be first to the center of the earth.
I mean, yeah, well, I'm sure it wasn't the only digging project going on at the time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's just cool. I think we're done talking about digging.
I don't know, man. Do you have any other interesting geological studies that you would like to bring up?
Do you want to hear the difference between basalt rocks and no, I don't know. No, I'm not going to do that.
Dude, I was ready for your pun. I was waiting, but I didn't have anything else to add. So
No, I mean I got dad jokes, but not about rocks, so it'd be a really weird.
we're done with geology now.
We are. Anything else about dire wolves you want to talk about?
I want to see what the wolves turn into when they grow up. You know what?
That's
One thing that really interests me about the dire wolves in particular, like we all understand that wolves are social animals. Like every study
Mhm.
that anyone has ever done on wolves has indicated that they have a leadership structure. They have packs. Like they have these animals in a way, like we understand wolves well enough to get that they have a social structure. Now, these dire wolves are not going to be raised in that social structure. So it really kind of brings up that classic nature nurture discussion that people like to have. We are looking at a species that has up to this point not existed on planet Earth, not existed in, with written history with human beings. And now we're looking at, what are they going to turn into when they're not socialized like they would have been back in the day?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was trying to look up the names of the dire wolves that they gave because it's very.
It's probably something along the lines of like Romulus and Remus. Like
That's
we
it.
like to, with
Yes,
is it?
it's
Jeez.
Romulus and Remus. Yes. Yeah, I believe so. Yes. Spot on. Well done. And there's a third one, but I'm having trouble finding it right now in my notes. But still very, very funny. Very, very cool. They didn't name them Ghost, which Ghost is a good boy and protect Ghost at all costs for all you Game of Thrones viewers out there. Let's dive into something a little more heavy hitting. Just because it's hard to talk about, or not talk about, but it's hard to kind of ignore. William, what political story do you want to kind of reach out and talk about right now? I know that when we were talking about possible stories, I had two. They're kind of the stories of the moment.
I'm well, and the main things I have seen politically lately are, I mean, they're primarily involve the people, and
Mhm.
one thing that I like to stress when we see this is people that are extremely motivated do extreme things.
Mhm.
And we're seeing a lot of videos of folks that just they're doing things that are absolutely wild out there. We saw folks that were damaging people's cars a couple weeks ago, and recently some videos are popping up. There's protests going on all over the nation, and of course there's a lot of recorded video of that, and there's people that are acting absolutely wild who are like and in particular I watched a video of a guy who screamed "Don't touch me" as some YouTube personality who was trying to conduct interviews, and then moments later they were grabbing that guy.
Mhm.
The guy who screamed "Don't touch me" grabbed the guy he was saying "Don't touch me" and was trying to like stop him from moving anywhere. And I'm just like, what kind of people are we finding out here, man? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I understand going out there and supporting a cause. Everyone should support a
Mhm.
cause, especially if you have any pride in the nation that you're staying in. Absolutely, be a part of that. Yeah,
Mhm.
Robotica is called that out. Monty Python energy, like
Yeah.
like these acts are absolutely ludicrous. I don't understand why people seem to go off the deep end on this.
Uh, and why people go off the deep end so uncharacteristically, and I think it has something to do with a perceived work ethic in our country and how we expect certain people to act in our country, and then I think expectations can become too much and it cracks people, it breaks people. Um, I think I also think that sometimes in personalities on the internet uh do anything they can for the clicks, right?
Yeah.
When your life is literally content, um your mind can go to some pretty terrible places. Rubber ducky shirt. um, but yeah, no, I'd yeah, I I can't defend people who are doing that. First off,
Yeah.
just keep your hands to yourself. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's not
And if
hard.
you it really isn't. And if you feel the need to not keep your hands to yourself, make sure that what you're doing is protecting someone in the right and just, you know, be respectful every chance you can.
Yeah.
De-escalate. Don't
Yeah,
make things
exactly.
worse.
De-escalation is the way to
Mhm.
go, and that's from like the smallest levels to the highest, man. De-escalation is definitely the way to go.
Yep.
There's not a lot to be gained by making situations more intense.
Yep.
There's certainly yes, you can make arguments against that, but I would argue that for the most part, in situations like as a numbered, like one to whatever number of situations, the majority of them by number would be de-escalation would be favorable.
Yeah. Now, that being said, there are a couple of news stories here that I think we'll just give our opinions on, and then we can move on to some more fun things. Um, the American citizen who was uh, wrongfully deported, Mr. Abrego Garcia, to an El Salvadorian prison. Uh, just recently, the Supreme Court leveled that he needs to be brought back to Sweet immediately. And I just saw 2 hours ago, Politico posted a news story saying that the current administration does know where he is. Now they know where he is, but they didn't specify if he was alive or not.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of
well,
this
the
entire
whole thing's fucked.
situation.
The whole
Yeah,
thing's fucked. I mean, let's
the
just
whole
say that
thing
out
is
loud. The
terrible.
whole thing
Yeah.
in there is fucked. I mean,
Mhm.
outside of the deportation thing in particular, because people want to go back and forth on that. I mean, in particular, this individual getting deported. Um,
Yes.
as reported by most news sources that I come across, this guy was unlawfully deported, and the error was attributed to like an administrative error.
Well, and the administration right now has admitted that he should not have been
Well,
deported.
yeah,
He is a citizen.
absolutely. I just with the money and the expediency that this guy was booted out, I don't understand why it's so hard to demand that this guy comes back. And now every moment, every hour, every minute that this is
Mhm.
delayed, the speculation's only going to grow and grow.
Yep. Well,
And
and the judge that not on the Supreme Court, but on the lower level, the judge that heard this case initially uh, is demanding daily updates to from the Trump administration about this. Daily updates until he is brought home. Um, so it is only a matter of time before he is back on American soil, um, or we find out some more information.
yeah, well, I mean, hopefully he's home with his family soon. Yeah,
Right.
like it's without escalating into like a politically tense thing. Like
Mhm.
this is a terrible thing that happened to this guy. It's a terrible thing that his family's going through, and the longer it goes on, the worse it is. Hopefully he can get home and this thing can be done. Or I mean, well, and then the trials can start. I mean, honestly,
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's imagining that was yourself or a loved one, that this happened to them. Like uh, it, it's wild. Like I'm not gonna get a hey, I'm sorry, and I'm not gonna like shake your hands and be like, okay, cool, I get it. People make mistakes. This isn't a
No.
people make mistakes thing.
He was ripped from his family and taken to a country that a gang wants him dead in.
Yeah,
Else yeah, like, it is, uh, insane.
yeah,
Insane in the membrane, uh, no two ifs, ands, or buts, like, just kind of crazy,
yeah.
um, in a lot of ways. Uh, so we're not saying don't go and protest, because that is something that is definitely protest worthy.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, hey, go if you're gonna go in protest, keep your hands to yourself.
Exactly.
If you find yourself in a conflict with another human being, de-escalate instead of
Mhm.
escalate.
Yep.
Well, it turns out that human beings who have different opinions can just talk to each other. I know that it's weird. Um, But I know that a lot of the default stance is to, pick something you don't like about them. Assume that if there's one thing you don't like, that that person has every quality in a human being that you dislike, and then just start shouting things and insulting them until they go away.
Yeah.
Uh, that's actually not good for discourse.
Yeah.
In general, that type of behavior only serves to escalate conflict.
Yep.
And I get that you're out there to deliver a message to show your support. You can do that without escalating conflict with other human beings that are next to you.
Yep. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Um, it's crazy. My second story that I wanted to talk about was the Save Act, but at the beginning of the week, um, the news cycle is just making my head spin. 3 huge news stories all within hours of each other, basically. We got the Save Act passing Congress. We have Abrego Garcia, that entire story. And then we also have what's going on with the tariffs and everyone's 401ks.
No, it's for a bit of levity. About the tariffs. One of the posts that I saw, someone was using Grok. That's the large language model that that's owned by Elon Musk and X. A lot of people use it for making posts on X,
Sure.
and they had prompted Grok to create a tariff pong game. And on one side, it was just a ping pong game, and on one half of the board, you had an image of Donald Trump sitting there, and on the other half of the board, you had Xi Jinping sitting there. And as the players played pong, the score at the bottom, which was represented by percentage tariffs increase, kept going up, and the higher the numbers got, the more it looked like the world leaders powered up Dragon Ball Z style. They started getting auras. Their hair would change. Their face would get more and more angry as the ping pong ball bounced back and forth until eventually someone missed. And I found that to be hilarious.
That's really funny.
See, so someone's doing something positive with this shit.
It's also crazy that one day, like, it changes almost hourly whether these tariffs are going into effect or not. It's again, it's crazy. It's just insane. My 401k could have been dealt a worse hand for sure, but at the moment I believe it's down about $10,000.
Yeah,
which is not great, but it's also not as bad as it could be.
Yeah. Well, and something else to note is that while it is down now, these things are bouncing around like crazy. The market is in a wild state. It's still better than it was a couple of years ago, but when it dips, it's like a spike. Like we're hitting record-breaking things. Yes.
Yeah. Buy the dip.
Buy the dip. Last time I did that, I bought Nvidia. I'm still recovering emotionally, not financially, emotionally. But no, I mean, to speak to Robotics' point, I firmly believe that at some point the market will stabilize and recover, or at least stabilize and then recover in that order. It's just right now it's kind of a hard game to play. It's where I could sell a lot of the stock that I have and buy some other stock and then play that risky game. But I don't know. You ever played Limbo?
I have played Limbo. You mean like the black and white game where you're the little child?
No, not the horror nostalgia filter. I mean the game where you bend backwards as far as you can to see how low the bar can go.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I have.
I just have
that game as well.
I have nightmares of that game. I know that as I age, my spine it's not as flexible.
Is it terrible that my mind immediately went to a video game, and you were talking about the literal actual game you played at birthday parties, Limbo, with the pole.
No, The market does terrify me. But that's
Yeah.
just 'cause, if I was a millionaire, billionaire, I might feel differently about it, of course. But that's just where things are, with today in life. I do want to note, and this is something that was hotly discussed, and now I haven't seen it as much. I know that President Trump threw out on social media to tell people to go buy some stock like hours before he flip flop on his stock position, and then of course the stock market spiked. Like I'm not one to point things out, but that really feels like market manipulation
It
to
is. It
me
is. 100.
personally.
This is
What it feels like it to me. I'm not going to accuse the president of a crime on air, Will, but I am going to
why not?
say,
Everyone else does.
well, yeah, that's them. I'm better than them. Would but it feels like it. It feels bad, and I just don't. Man, that doesn't sit right with me. Never mind the thousands of. I mean, pile it on the things you like or dislike about the man. But that in particular, it just feels really awful. And I never mind. It's not like any of the other criminal charges that they've levied at him have stuck. So,
Some have. I mean, he is a felon. He cannot vote legally. So,
but I mean, speaking of voting, good job. Thank you for taking the bait on that.
yeah.
You had wanted to bring up, you had wanted to bring up the Save Act. And
Mhm.
a lot of the things that are going on about, and we were when we were in the pre-roll, we had talked about what the requirements of it are, because it was what was it, bill HR 22 was the
Yes.
actual bill this past, and it's been called what was it I researched it here, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. And I posed the question, what specific documents are required, and you had noted birth certificate. And so you have to have two forms of ID, just
Mhm.
like you're getting your passport. Roboticus notes that he never got charged.
Mm,
I'm not sure about the legal process of the president.
correct. Great
Uh,
shirt.
oh,
Yeah. Thank
thank you,
you.
Damien.
Rubber ducky shirt. I will have to do some research on that. Again, we're here just spitting the shit. So
Yeah.
I in regards to that do need to or sentenced. So I
Or
do need
sentence.
to
Yeah.
or sentenced. So need to do some due diligence on that on my part. Um, however, that being said, we do want to talk about the Save Act. Um, essentially, it says that, and to my understanding, this is something I did research.
Yeah.
um, essentially, you have to have two documents, one of which your birth certificate. You have to have a photo ID with the same name that is on your birth certificate.
Yeah.
Now that would be, and from what I have gathered, driver's license doesn't work. That is not.
Well, here's what I've got.
Yeah.
There are several forms of ID. The first bit is a real ID compliant driver's license
Mhm.
that must indicate citizenship and include that must indicate U.S. citizenship. Though most real ID compliant driver's licenses do not currently have that information on them.
Right.
Okay. A valid U.S. passport does count. So if you have a
Correct.
valid U.S. passport, that is an accepted form of communication.
Mhm.
A military identification card accompanied by military records showing their applicant's birthplace. That's also
Cool.
accepted. A government issued photo ID with place of birth. Issued by a federal, state, or tribal authorities, explicitly showing the applicant's birthplace in the United States. That is an acceptable form. So if you just happen to have a government issued photo ID that includes your place of birth, you can bring that with your valid US passport. But I don't know how many government institutions are issuing photo IDs that include the place of birth on them.
Sure isn't going to be your library card.
Well, yeah. And the last one is the one where a lot of people are getting really iffy on, is this: if you have a government issued photo ID that does not include your place of birth,
Mhm.
So I'm sure most driver's licenses and government IDs don't include place of birth. So if you happen to have your driver's license on you, it must also be accompanied by a certified birth certificate or a hospital record of birth, final adoption decree showing showing your U.S. birthplace, and two really long things that I'm really just not going to go through. They're really
Yeah.
specific documents by Homeland Security and the Secretary of State. So,
Right.
uh, so any of those work. The things that you needed to get a passport would work.
Correct. Or just a passport.
Well, yeah. Well, I think you needed two.
Yeah, correct. A passport, your birth certificate.
Yeah.
So this is not, I would not consider this good legislation, mostly because we do have a way of keeping people from voting. Isn't it just for registering to vote? So if you're not registered to vote, you won't be able to vote. Essentially, through the transitive property, what this is putting certain people and a large groups of people, it's making voting, putting it behind a paywall, essentially.
Well, no, to speak to Roboticus's point, this is for when you are registering to vote.
Yes.
So whenever you're going to register to vote for your state, you need to provide two forms of identification, and one of them must include your place of birth, basically.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. Like, where this has a very big sticking point is that women who have changed their name for marriage are going to have a really difficult time getting things, being able to register to vote, especially if they don't have a passport, because it costs about it can cost upwards of about $200 to get a passport.
Yeah, passports aren't cheap. I recently got my passport. I also recently had to get my birth certificate. Remember when I went on that cruise last year? I had to work with the state of Kansas to get my birth certificate, and my name is the same as it's always been. But getting your birth certificate, as long as you have the right state, isn't too hard.
Right.
But whenever you're moving from having a birth certificate to associating that with any other documents that you might need to get a passport, like if you change your name with the state, or if you have a marriage license, you can demonstrate that your name's been changed. Now the efficiency of the offices to get that information done could be argued, and it will vary from state to state. I'm sure city to city, honestly. Like when I go to the DMV, I go to the one 3 towns over that has a tenth of the population of the big city I live next to. You know what I mean?
Like that way you go in and out and it's done. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
But it is going to be my birth certificate wasn't free. And I couldn't just go over there and request it. I had to pay $15, I think, to have it reprinted. And I didn't have any other challenges to get that done. Now, does this whenever you're registering the vote, like if you move to a new state, you have to register there. If you're currently registered, does this impact you at all?
It depends on what gets added to the legislation, right? It depends on the bill.
I mean, it's currently it passed the House.
It passed
or did it pass the Senate? I don't. It passed one of the things that decides whether or not it passes.
I believe it's headed to the Senate right now.
Okay.
What in regards to if you need to re-register, I don't know, because I'm currently registered.
Yeah. I'm a registered voter, so it wouldn't impact me. Now I still need to get my real ID and.
That's another podcast.
No. We're gonna go into real ID right now. So
okay.
The state of Missouri has demanded that if you want to fly somewhere, you have to get a real ID compliant driver's license.
Or a
Honestly,
passport.
yeah, honestly, not a big deal. Whatever. It's not like I haven't known this is coming. It's posted at the DMV. It's been up there for like 5 years,
Yep.
and I've seen that. Whenever I see a real ID driver's license, it looks fake to me because it looks very different than the one that I have.
Yep.
But I just find
Yeah.
it funny that the Save Act, HR 22, as it's written, specifically specifically calls out, hey, you can use a real ID compliant driver's license as long as it includes your place of birth. And in order to get a real ID driver's license, you have to provide like your birth certificate or a passport. And I just I find it really funny that the real ID itself at that point didn't count. It was just it hasn't there been a movement to try to make efficiency better? I don't know. Don't people keep talking about that? It's a little weird.
You know, isn't that yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
But government going government. I think that's probably the most accurate sentence. The Roboticus knows he had to get one for work, so
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I've got to get one here. Actually, I think before my next birthday. So
So when I moved up to New York for this, I had the opportunity to get just an enhanced license, which is a real ID, but that means that I don't need a passport to drive into Canada because I have the enhanced ID. It serves that purpose. So I can drive or walk into Canada, but I can't fly into Canada.
So is there like a chip in the license or the ID that says, "Hey, this is how far you're allowed to drive"? Maybe it'll text you if you go too far. I feel like
I don't know if it's going to text me, but I can cross the border. I have not tested this yet, mostly because I like coming back. I would like to come back. So,
well, they're not going to keep you, man. Listen, just get your phone, get in your car, and drive whatever direction it is to Canada for you.
north.
And then,
It's typically
yeah,
north.
it's north. For most Americans, Canada is to the north. Most. Now that statement's not always true. It is just most.
Right.
I want you to get in your car and break the law by getting your phone out and just like streaming your face as you cross the Canadian border. And I want to know if your license starts beeping at you.
No, it's not. It doesn't have like it doesn't have a rumble pack attached to it. Okay, it's not going to just like buzz, you've crossed the border. Okay,
That'd be cool. Do you remember pagers? Pagers were cool, right? They weren't.
You mean they weren't? No,
good, guys.
they were literally just a way to text people a phone number. It was just I attribute that to early Big Brother because a number is watching you. That's what that means. It's like, hey, you're not where you need to be. And this number knows it.
Or at least whoever's paging you knows.
Right.
Yeah.
But now we basically, I mean, it evolved into texting. So that's what we do now.
Oh, yeah.
I am not in favor of the Save Act, mostly because I saw firsthand what it took for my wife just to change her name to my
Yeah.
name. In a state where it's relatively few hoops to jump through, but still hoops. And now that her name doesn't match her birth certificate, it puts her vote behind a paywall. And I don't know if they're going to require people because, whenever you go to the polls to vote, you typically have to show your voter ID or a driver's license. Well, if this passes, I can't imagine that they wouldn't require people to re-register.
I mean, I guess we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, now
Yeah.
that's based upon nothing, but well, no, it's not based upon nothing. It's based upon how everything is going currently in American politics. I can see that happening. It would be nice if it didn't, but I can see it happening. And if it
Yeah.
does, half the country or half the country's eligible voters would have a hard time.
I mean, harder than would seem necessary. Now,
Yes.
I'm not opposed to the idea behind the SAVE Act. Like, I do think that it's important that we know who's voting for what. Like that, I think that that's important. Like that idea itself, I get that, and I really feel like the way that they're going about. Well, first, I'm gonna say some really crazy things over the next couple of minutes, and
It's okay.
you're just gonna have to nod and be like,
We're
"This makes sense."
we're all friends here. Okay.
This
Level 'em at
whole
me.
this whole paper thing for voting is it's nuts, man. Listen, we trust banks, and well, actually, no, we don't trust banks. Do you know anyone who like lets their phone die? Like would volunteer their cell phone to run out of battery when they're out and about, or like let it be taken from anything other than their actual cold dead hands. Like only under the threat of a gun or a knife would people willingly give up their cell phone. And we're and we're actually broaching our next topic here pretty soon. Yeah, the next 20 years or so, you're gonna have to prove that you're a real human when you go to a shop.
Mhm.
uh it's a we have the ability to measure a human being biometrically to verify their identity, and we all walk around with supercomputers in our pockets
Mhm.
that can measure this. I don't understand why we're not using blockchain combined with biometrics to verify human identity. That seems like it would be way better. But that's my personal opinion on
No,
that.
I'm with you, man. I mean, what's the point of not pushing human ingenuity if you're not going to do that? And I mean, next to just barcoding every single American citizen at birth,
I'm not opposed
um,
to that. Go ahead.
um, if I'm being completely honest, this shouldn't be as hard as we're making it, right? Every single person who was born in this country or has gained citizenship has the right to vote. That
Yeah,
is in the Constitution.
yeah,
So putting a vote behind a paywall, in my opinion, is unconstitutional.
yeah. I want to. I agree with that statement. I want to make an ask of you and your
Sure.
wife.
Okay.
Um, Whether or not the Save Act passes the Senate
Mhm.
and becomes law or whatever, would you and your wife be willing to like exhaustively document the process of going through to follow what is currently written to codify?
Yeah.
Because what we're going to get on the internet as people discuss this, because people aren't capable of intelligent conversation, is people presenting that, oh no, it's impossible, I can't do this, I have all these issues, and then other people saying, oh no, I had no issue whatsoever, why don't people just follow this 3-step process? But I think a real human being actually going through the process and saying, this is, these are the things that I had to do to follow this.
Yeah. I mean,
uh,
yeah,
I think that documenting that would be important.
I and actually, so, my wife does not have a passport. I do have a passport, but it's expired. So, yeah, we can absolutely go through this process,
Yeah.
and we can document it exhaustively. And I plan on following it, just because my better half has a vested interest in this, as do I. Because I honestly don't want to go back to an era where, um, like in ancient Greece, where the woman told the man how to vote, right? Or like the man of the household. Sorry, that sounded way more sexist than I actually intended.
No, it's okay. We'll run with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. But in ancient Greece, only men could vote, but happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah.
So you vote for the household. I don't want that. I love the fact that if you are an American, regardless of your race, religion, sex, gender, you have a vote protected by the very laws of the land, of our land, the Constitution.
Yeah.
Um, it feels like it's rolling back one of our amendments, which allowed women to vote in the first place. It feels like it is a way, it is a tactic for voter suppression. And I know all of these are hot topic words that I'm using that a lot of people are saying. Um, it is hard not to view it that way. Now, if it passes, I'm going to be doing everything in my power to make sure that my loved ones have the ability to vote.
Yeah, absolutely.
It reminds me of, and I know there's been a lot, but it reminds me of the novel and the movie, Robert A. Heinlein's Starship Troopers. Do you remember a big part of that? I don't think you've read the book, but you've seen the movie, right?
Oh yeah, I'm doing my part.
So one thing that I got up in front of of Nevada, Missouri, basically southern Missouri. Okay. I got up in front of an entire class to give a report on this book, and I said, this book has some really good ideas. We should make people join the military to earn the right to vote.
I'm guessing that you don't still support those beliefs.
I don't know. It's so far-fetched that it would never happen, at least in my lifetime. Maybe it would, but because anything's possible. I just can't see something that that socialistic happening.
I mean, it is something that happens in other countries today, but
It is. I mean, yeah.
So,
At that point, when I was reading it, when I was in high school, I said, it makes sense. Yes, you fight for your country, and then you gain the right to say where it goes. It made sense to me, and it still does in a certain respect. Like, I can see the thought process. And Robert A. Heinlein was a World War II vet, and he was not drafted. I believe the science fiction author, Robert A. Heinlein, believed in his heart of hearts that you sign up when your country is in trouble. And it's hard to argue with that. I too believe that if there is something that needs to be done, you go. You have a responsibility as a citizen. A citizen is a very important part to our democracy, to our government, to our way of life.
yeah.
And I feel that sometimes people forget how much power the citizens have.
Well, power other than screaming into a social media account.
And that is not how you exercise your rights as a citizen. That's how you make me get a headache.
Yeah.
No, really exercising your rights as a citizen takes, you have to put your phone down, you have to go out, you have to get your voice heard in certain ways, even if that is just showing up to your local monthly or weekly what do you call them? Town hall meetings. That's politics.
If you want to be involved, be involved.
Yeah.
And I one way that I always operated by, and we need to switch topics here pretty soon. We're actually coming up on time, but my final thoughts on this. When I first was looking at registering to vote and joining that, I basically said, well, I don't really care, and I'm not going to bitch about it. So I'm not going to worry about it. And then as I got older, I started to care. And I started bitching about things that I didn't like. And I think that's a lot like your journey from a youth where like, hey, this sounds like a great idea.
Mhm.
And now these days you're like, wait a goddamn minute. There's some rules written down for this. We need to check it out.
Yeah.
So, just like vinyl records and pirating, if this is something that you're impassioned with, like put the time, effort, and money into it to be a part of it, and don't just bitch about the things on the side.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't know about you, but let's get into some more fun stuff briefly.
Yeah, man. I did want to spend a minute. There was I wanted to talk about AI in general. There are some really advanced, specific things that are coming up. But I wanted to generalize things for a moment because as we talk about how fast this political news comes at us and things literally shifting hours at a time, like the stock market. But then we get and then we're like, hey, that news is too much. It's hard to keep up with. Yeah, that's true. Well, the same damn things going on with all these all these large companies throwing these AI large language models out there. Wanted to note that Tesla put out pre-orders for a humanoid robot named Optimus. It's it's $30,000. Um, and it's
Chump
powered.
change.
Yeah, I mean, for some people that absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit on the side, and you can get at the end of 2027 was the initial predicted delivery of the first one. So who knows if that's actually going to happen or not? We can cross our fingers. But at the end of 2027, you could get a humanoid robot in your home if you only had the funds, powered by uh, uh, Elon Musk's XAI. And I just thought that just found that to be absolutely wild. We talk about robots. Starship Troopers happens in the future. Robots happen in the future. Will apparently the future is 2027.
Listen, man. Again, we said this before we started recording. I wanted AI to make our lives easier. Not take away all the creative jobs.
Listen, I have a different perspective on that now. I think the reason, I liked because I think that the end of this argument is coming. My biggest stance on AI art not being art was that you can feel that it lacks the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the transition that we're seeing now with largely this AI generated art is that we're seeing artists who have an understanding of what that soul feels like in an image, in a recording, in anything, that they understand how that feels, and they're starting to use some of these tools, and we're starting to see the glimpses of soul come through in some of this art.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You and I, after we recorded a one of our podcast episodes a while back, we started playing with a website that you found.
Refusion.
Rifusion, yeah, or Rifusion, yeah. Where you were just showing songs that you just put in what you wanted, and it made a song to it. And you put what genre, and then you put what subgenre of a genre, and then you added like 3 genres, and it was able to make a song. Cohesive, not always the best, but some of them elicited responses. One that I found on TikTok makes me giggle nonstop.
Yeah.
I what was it? I glued my balls to my butthole again.
I'm still not 100% that's AI generated.
It's amazing. It's incredible. I think it is. I think it's AI generated, but oh God, it's a bop. It's so good.
No. There's a lot of stuff coming down the line like that. Microsoft recently announced they're going to be laying off a large portion of their middle management as the job's going to be carried by some large language models instead. A coworker of mine, he noted his wife is a graphic artist and said that they've noticed a pretty large trend in the number of jobs requesting graphic artists, or the number of jobs requesting those artists is decreasing at a pretty rapid rate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean even us, we have a small little operation here, and our logo is AI generated, and I wanted to find an artist to do it, but the costs are getting crazy, man. Like for me to go and pay a professional to redo our logo and provide like letterhead and signature icons and all of that mess, it would be upwards of $500. Now I could go on Fiverr and find somebody I could do it for $7, but I'm getting $7 worth of work at that point. Or I can sit here and play with a model and generate things, or I can pay someone to do it. Like there's going to be a lot more of these scenarios coming as the future rolls out.
I have an idea for that that we'll talk off mic about, that I think could be both really cool and then cost effective as well. But we'll talk about that off mic. No, yeah, you're right. Oh,
Roboticus
yes,
notes he likes the song made with. Yes, absolutely.
it's great.
When we were sitting there, that in that particular session, when we were sitting there playing with Refusion, I remember at one point we were taking Shakespearean monologues and then
Yes,
just putting them to music, and they were fantastic,
they're great.
honestly, for exactly what they were, for 30 seconds of work, asking for all the world's a stage to be
It
presented.
was to be or not to be, that is the question. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an emo rock song, which is exactly what it needed to be. Perfect. Shakespeare would be proud.
hmm let's see what's more. Meta is announcing a bot called Movie Mate, who
Oh,
is
no.
going to be tied to.
You told me about this. This is bullshit. This is
Oh
crazy.
No! This is different. This is I
Oh,
don't
this
think I've
is
talked
different?
about this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've talked about this yet. Uh, Basically, it's a large language model chatbot who would engage with audiences over the Instagram account or over their Instagram account, or you could download it or just join a chat with it. If you let it know what movie you're going to watch, it can engage in trivia with you.
Yeah, I still if I'm gonna watch a movie, and I'm gonna be completely blunt about this, and yes, this is old man yelling at sky, so forgive me. If I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie, I'm gonna watch the movie. I do not give me my phone during the movie. I want to watch the movie. And if I'm watching trivia on a movie while I'm watching the movie, then the movie's not good. Like, I don't care because I know more about movies than the general person, right? I
Mhm.
take it onto myself to learn how the sausage is made in that respect. I also took it upon myself to learn about how like I have physical books because physical media is the best. Hello. um but I have several books outlining how certain movies, some of my favorite movies, were made and TV shows and things like that. Like I love this stuff. I don't need trivia. That's what IMDb is for.
Well, now, and that's what you're for. It's a
Yeah.
passion of yours. You love movie. You have trivia about it. Like that makes sense.
Mhm.
Uh, but I just wanted to offer those,
Mhm.
and there's are a couple things. I think I talked about an MCP recently,
Yes.
where you can work with Claude or X or even ChatGPT at this point. You can work on downloading on your computer, not like the whole thing, but an access a portal to the large language model from your computer, and teaching it. If you've never used the software Blender, which is a 3D modeling software for making models or 3D scenes, or I mean anything as simple as I'm going to put an oval floating in space, or a capsule shape, to the complex rigging for a mech that you might fight in your next Devil May Cry video game. Uh, that Blender is used across the whole spectrum for that gap there. I've never used it before, but I could download a program that would let Anthropic's Claude control Blender on my computer, and I could prompt it to do things, and it would do them for me in that software.
I this is amazing. This is
Yeah.
incredible. And this is kind of what I'm talking about making our lives easier.
Yeah.
Because doing that type of stuff takes so long. So long.
Oh yeah.
And I would say it does take a specific type of artist and architect to do those things in these programs, right? It's very time
Mhm.
consuming. But making an AI where you can input what it is that you want, hit enter, and then it does the work for you is both incredibly exciting and also there is a sense of apprehension that I have to that.
Oh yeah.
Um, because there are artists who use those things and they're paid very well. Well, hopefully they're paid well. I don't know exactly, but I hope they're paid well. Um, to be creative in that space. Uh, we're getting into we're getting into
Well,
sticky
here,
things.
we all know that in general you just favor it, but I'm doing all this to get to one point in particular. Like all
Yeah.
of these interactions are the result of people who are putting together prompts to ask these things, to ask a large language model what they want, or ask an AI, depending on how people want to interpret it. Say, oh, I want this, give me this, and it gives it that back in return. So this field opened up called prompt engineering, where people were literally spending their time putting together the best prompts to get the best responses. And Google recently published a 79-page PDF all about prompt engineering. And I just found that to be amazing. And you can just go download it and read it if you want. Or you could download it and ask ChatGPT to summarize it for you.
Oh my God. It's an Ouroboros, right? It's just a snake eating its own tail.
All right. You had some Godzilla points you wanted to bring up here. We got like 10 minutes left.
Did. I know we do.
We got 10 minutes left. Go.
So this coming July, my Marvel comic nerds, this coming July is going to be the release of Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. There is a introductory selling picture that is out on the internet. Please Google it. It's fantastic. It is basically all of the Marvel heroes swooping in to try and fight Godzilla. You got some people who are like you commented before we started, Wolverine is there. What's Wolverine gonna do?
So you could tell that it's not a website I frequent because it's got a white background and the color on my face changes. But yeah, this promotional. I mean, you've got the Fantastic Four, you've got Spidey, you've got Falcon, you've got Thor, Black Panther. Wait, what's Black Panther gonna do? Actually, Black Panther would build a robot, same as Tony Stark. You got Scarlet Witch, Rogue, Doctor Strange. Like some of those people are kind of capable of some things. You've got Hulk, who I'm sure would actually be a fun fight.
That would be a pretty I mean, it would be the Hulk is just an ant to Godzilla.
He scales infinitely though. That's the thing.
Correct.
He has infinite scalar values. His strength is literally unbound. So it's just at some point it becomes an even fight, as wild as that seems. And then Wolverine is also a photo. There's nothing that Wolverine can do against Godzilla, but I'm actually interested. I am going to purchase that as a comic book because I have always been a bigger Marvel fan than I have DC. So I do think I will buy that one unless the writer doesn't like the Hulk. That's true. Yeah.
That's true.
I feel like Hulk's going to be feature because I mean both of them are big and green. I feel like whoever's writing this is going to lock in on that, and I think that's going to be something they're going to focus on. Now, Marvel does have some giant critters in there. There's Fing Fang Foom.
They're never bringing that back. You know they're not.
What, a magical dragon that can talk to people and manipulate emotions? Yeah, of course they're going to bring that. Now, it's not going to do much against Godzilla, but
I mean, imagine Godzilla, though. What would Godzilla do against, Galactus? Galactus could take care of Godzilla.
Yeah, it depends on who's writing Galactus.
But Galactus doesn't eat planets, or at least he doesn't eat Earth anymore, right? Because he's oh, you have feelings.
It all depends on when and where Galactus is written.
This is true. This is true.
Now, I mean, there's definitely some. Yeah, it's that sense of scale. Galactus, in the Silver Age of comics, Galactus literally grabbed planets in his hands and ate them like an apple, that. And now it's more portrayed as the Galactus is a force that drains all the life from a planet. Godzilla Earth versus Galactus. Ooh, that might be a good one. Godzilla Earth, man, that's a Godzilla Earth is still it's only 7 miles is only it's only 3 kilometers tall. Right?
Let me tell you this though. Okay, so back to when we were talking about Godzilla x Kong. All right.
Yes.
I think Godzilla could possibly take Galactus because Godzilla got angry and fire breathed through halfway through the earth.
Yeah, we see Russia needed to hire Godzilla to dig a hole.
Yes.
And then they could have not only gotten through the crust, they could have gotten to the hollow earth. Um, which at that point in the 90s when they dug this hole, which is I can only assume that was then because I refuse to look it up. At that point, the hollow earth and the normal surface were still connected. It wasn't magical portals. They were still actually physically connected. You could just crawl if you felt like it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about this. I have tried several different Godzilla comics, and I've always bounced off of them, mostly because comics being a reading medium, being a 2D medium, um, I've never seen him written well in a comic. He's always a force of nature, which is what Godzilla is. He is a force of nature, and on a film, that comes across. The thing is, there are no good, like until Godzilla -1, there were no good or compelling. Well, no, we'll get to Godzilla versus Biollante here in just a second.
Well, let's save that one for the next one. Let's save Biollante. There's a deep discussion there.
Okay, you got it. Godzilla versus Biollante.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen anyone write a compelling human character in a Godzilla comic.
No, I'll agree with that. Now, did I tell you I purchased Godzilla Escapes from Hell?
No.
So
oh yes, you did. You did.
Yeah. So I think you should read that one. There's no compelling human characters there, but I think you'd appreciate that set of comics.
Okay.
I think you'd enjoy it. I mean,
is that Marvel?
No. It's Godzilla in his own thing.
Nice. Who's the imprint? Who published it?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's over there on my shelf. It's far away. I'll have to look it up. No, we'll get it in post.
Yeah. I'm checking to see if there's anything else. We wanted to talk briefly about the Nintendo Switch 2. You're upset about it. I'm excited about it. That's about that.
I mean, there's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2. They were going to start taking pre-orders, but there were some tariff issues that they wanted to reconsider the pricing. So in the United States, I don't know if it's been changed at this point, but I know at one point you could pre-order it and then you couldn't.
Correct.
I don't
pre-order it for $450.
Yeah, and it's a. Wait, is that still true? Like, can you still pre-order it now, or is it?
I don't know if you can still pre-order it. I know that, again, like all things currently, it's up and down, and nobody knows what's up and what's top and what's bottom.
Now, I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be neat if you were a fan of the Nintendo Switch. I really wasn't. I bought one and sold one. It really didn't keep my interest. I didn't use it. The other gaming platforms have like built-in online and connecting to your friends list and all that. And Nintendo's, gaming is increasingly an online thing. And Nintendo is still catching up in that respect. Also check the measurements on it. It's basically an iPad mini with a set of controllers on the side. And it's almost as powerful as an iPad mini. Almost.
Nope. You know what? if I can play Legend of Zelda in high def on the go, I'm sold, man. I'm sold.
No, it'll be good for that. Like I'm not gonna buy one, but I hope that the people that love Nintendo do buy one and enjoy it.
Now, obviously, it's a new Nintendo system. Everyone's very excited about that. New Donkey Kong game coming out. 3D Donkey Kong game is coming out. But what I want to talk about, because you saw the majority of the Direct, I'm sure, Nintendo is basically making their own Discord for this system. Which in the presentation, oh boy, it was laggy.
See that they're running. Listen, I'm trying not to trash Nintendo because I still respect them, but they put everything they had into making this high definition OLED screen work properly and have a better wireless antenna to stay connected to those controllers and work as wirelessly as possible, because the only market they have is the mobile market. That's the only place where they're really doing things. And phones they're releasing a system that's not on par hardware wise with the flagship phones from Apple or Samsung, and it just makes me concerned. You mentioned he's like, oh, they're making their own Discord. I mean, it's funny that you say that. I remember a time before Discord. You had
Sure.
TeamSpeak and
Hmm.
Ventrilo and IRC. You had all these other chat programs. I mean, even Steam had their own out there, and now Discord's out there. People that don't even play video games are still hopping in Discords because it's a
Hmm.
way to connect with people. Man, I just really feel like Nintendo latching onto one of those other services and making that app work on their device would save them so much money, would save them so much time. It would really simplify things, but they're playing this IP game.
Nintendo doesn't play well with others.
No, they never have.
No.
But I mean, I still like Pokemon. The best Donkey Kong game is Donkey Kong Country.
It's
Uh,
one or two.
I like all three. Three was the worst. I go back and forth between if one or two were better. I enjoyed both.
I have never beaten a Donkey Kong Country game.
You need to sit down and take way too many hours and do that.
They're
if you
hard, man.
they are hard games. They
They're
are hard games.
difficult.
It was back when games were hard. All right.
I like hard games. I played. I played pretty much exclusively From Software games at the moment. That's it.
No. The other thing that I'm not excited about, the next generation of consoles, the prices of video games are not going to go up.
$80 for a video game, which
Nah, get out of here. Get out of here. No, I'm not doing that.
I remember being like bristled at like, oh, the new Legend of Zelda is $70.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely room for inflation, and it would be different if these large companies released actual content with their games. Now, Nintendo is one of the least offensive users of this. If you
Yes.
never played the Super Mario game that released on your iPhone, because a lot of people don't like to talk about that. The Super Mario on your iPhone was a freemium time spender where you spent a lot of time tap. The only thing you could do is jump and go left or right. Like that's it, which is basically any Mario game, but you only had one button to do it on your phone. And anything beyond like the first 3 levels required money. No one wants to talk about that one. They want to talk about like these legendary IPs, like look how Tales of the Kingdom did, or not, like Zelda did, and look how the last Mario did. Look, oh hey, we're bringing Mario Kart back. And man, I really feel like there's a lot of struggle in indie games. Not struggle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good in indie games right now. Small studios and individual people and in tiny teams are making great games.
Yeah.
And Nintendo is struggling to remanufacture the games that they already have at a price that makes sense.
Yes. Yep. I mean, you're absolutely right. As well as, I mean,
Sorry, I know you love Nintendo, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like I know they're one of your favorites, and I just threw sand in their eye, and I don't mean to do that.
Listen, I can be critical of Nintendo as well. Like they don't do a good job of preserving their games from the past. Some of their best games that they've ever released, you can't find. The only way to play them is through emulation. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the way it goes with Nintendo. If you really want to play a Nintendo game, the best way to do is emulate it. And the bad thing is that Nintendo knows this, and they, behind a paywall for a monthly fee, allow you to play emulated versions of their games.
Of course. Why not? It's upsetting.
Oh.
Robotica says everyone thought GTA 6 was going to be $100. Yeah.
It'd still be.
It might, yeah. I still haven't seen it come out, so until it comes out, it's not real.
Yeah, they've had one trailer. It's been a year. Over a year.
Yeah.
No, and everyone has stopped asking for the game, and everyone is just instead clamoring for trailer 2.
give me another trailer.
This is how cults are founded, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't need the thing. I just need to see that you're still working on it.
Oh, hey, ChatGPT, generate a trailer for GTA 6.
So I was telling you about this. I have discovered a TikTok, and the TikTok algorithm has now shown so many of these videos. It is this AI generated animated video of a cat, an orange tabby cat, who befriends fish and fowl, literally birds, ducks, chickens, gets them drunk to the point where they drink themselves to death. The cat holds a funeral for their friend and then cooks them and eats them. And I don't know why I'm watching it, because it's AI generated. Like, the sound is straight from every single video you've ever seen on the internet.
Yeah.
But holy cow. Like, and I think it's kind of like a train crash where it's
Hard to
not
look away.
good, but it's hard to look away. I mean, you watch the cat's paws grow fingers for certain things that it does, and then go back to paws. Like, it, it's wild. It's wild. That is a fun thing yeah. Got to clear the watch history. Yeah, no joke.
No, but I mean, I think that that highlights the news stories we want to hit. Yeah, man. To our audience, thank you for joining us. We're wanting to do these a little more often. I'll have to talk Will into a schedule. And
Yes.
then and I think it'll be something that we can really enjoy when we spend a little more time on this. I do want to offer some updates. We're going to be renumbering actually, I said this in our we released our Invincible episode today. We do have another episode recording that'll be coming out in the next week or two. And you're going to hear this announcement again. We're going to be changing the name of all of our episodes. We're going to renumber for future usability. So we're going to drop the SE numbers and letter system from our titles, and we're just going to go with a three-digit number preceding the title of all of our podcasts. We'll be redoing all of those, and from now on, moving into the future, that'll be how we number the podcasts, just for clarity and just for keeping for record keeping. That'll be a little easier.
Yeah. Lots of cool things coming in. We have recorded and will be releasing soon our solo leveling episode. So if you have not watched Solo Leveling, check it out. It's on Crunchyroll, and it's 2 seasons, well worth the watch. I'd say
Absolutely.
What, 25 total episodes?
25 episodes, yeah.
Before we go, William, are you watching or reading anything that you want to give a shout out to?
I'm currently on book 2 of the Stormlight Archive series.
Hell yeah!
I think you and I we haven't really discussed Sanderson at length since I started it. It'll probably be several months before I finish the series, but I am taking notes. So one day we will have a long discussion about Brandon Sanderson.
Oh boy, I cannot wait.
I now have a new least favorite character. It used to be Shalon, and
Okay.
but I now have a little bit more respect for her after after the ship incident. As to not offer spoilers for people on a several-year-old book.
So who is your least?
I don't even know her name. It's whoever represents the other race of folk. Man, I just every time it's one
the
of
crab
chapters,
people.
Yeah, I just go do something else for a couple of hours, and then I come back and try to finish that chapter. And it's like, I'm not even saying that them as a people are not interesting. I'm saying that it's hard to read, man. Like I'm just reading through it, and I'm like, man, did we have to write it like this? Like I have to
Vinley, right?
Huh? Vinley? No. It's like her name's like Eshenokai or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah, Eshonai or something.
Yeah. Her name doesn't matter. Whenever she's on, as long as it's the stories from someone else's perspective, I'm down. But if it's from her perspective, I lose interest immediately, and I go play video games instead of read.
Book 4 is going to be hard
several
on
months
you.
away. Several months
Yes.
away.
But she's the primary perspective in book
Of
4.
book 4? Great. I might get the cliff notes on that one.
No, just listen to it. That way you just speed up to 2.0 speed during her sections. You absorb the important parts, and then you slow down in the next chapter. There you go.
But that is what I'm currently reading. But
Nice.
ever since I resuggested to you to go read The Traitor God, I
Mhm.
want to go reread The Traitor God, so I may go reread that here shortly. I forgot how fun that book was, and I caught a couple chapters from it, and I was like, God damn it! So I think I'm gonna watch that. As far as video games go right now, I picked up an MMO called Pantheon: Rise of the Fallen. My friends are playing it. It's a little more hardcore, a little more old school than a lot of stuff that's out today. Like, things are hard. If anything is actually worth something to your character, you've got to put time and effort into getting it.
Nice.
And if you're not playing with a group of people, like it's really hard to progress in that game without a group. So it encouraged socialization. I've been enjoying that. Marvel Rivals
Yes.
just released a new season of content, and I'm absolutely loving the time I'm putting into that game. They released a new character, Emma Frost. That she's got too much hip, and it. I mean, it's hard to express. I just want
William.
I
Careful.
can't. I can't. Like, I'm not going to say anything untoward. Like, it's pixels, man. It's just pixels on a screen. But one of the folks I was playing with addressed her properly as Gooner bait, and I think that's the entire reason that she exists in the way that she exists. Yes, thank you, Damien. Going crazy and dude. Emma Frost is oppressive to play against. Really, a lot of fun to play in the game. And if you hold one of your abilities and walk into a corner in the pregame lobby, you can just waggle your hips back and forth in a mildly seductive manner. This game is definitely made.
Teenage boys, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the games of all time in that aspect. It's fun. It's good they let you have fun with it, though. Like, I'm glad like the screen doesn't blur if you look in a certain direction. You know what I mean? Like, that just takes all the fun out of it.
Sure.
But the game's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it, and it has daily things that you do, and I'm addicted to daily things like that. Little red lightning bolts, man, got to clear those out.
Nice. For me, so Trader God is on my TBR, my to be read list. So it will be. However, currently I am going through the Dungeon Crawler series. It is fantastic. I say this a lot, but there is a cat character whose name is Princess Donut, and that is why you read these books, to see what Princess Donut does. It's fantastic. For TV, on HBO Max, they just completed the first season of The Pit, which is a spiritual successor to ER. Fantastic. It's great. The show is only 15 episodes, and each hour of TV show that you watch is 1 hour of a 15-hour emergency room shift, a la 24. But this one makes sense because half of that time Jack Bauer should be sleeping in 24. But a 15-hour emergency room shift, that's compelling TV. The Pit is great. It is so good. I will give a warning, though. They do not pull their punches on the gore in that show. So somebody comes in with a degloved foot. Don't Google what that is. Just if you hear someone on the show be like, degloved foot, just cover your eyes. That's all you need. Just cover your eyes real quick. There's also a lot of there's actually a surprising amount of child death in that show. So just be aware. But it's great. It's all for a point. It's not too gratuitous, because this is what doctors and nurses see on a daily basis. Maybe not a daily basis, because it does go to crazy town here. But it's fantastic. Video game wise, I am still working my way through Final Fantasy VII, OG Final Fantasy VII. I need to Damien, shut up. No, do not.
You could eat cherry pie. Like, cherry pie would be probably good, right?
French fries and ketchup. So
Oh,
no,
man, that sounds great, actually.
yeah, no, don't do that while watching.
So Final Fantasy 7.
Which I'm really enjoying. I have not put it down, but I had to take a small break just because life got a little crazy, but I
Yeah.
am gonna be picking it up. Um, it is very good. I see the breadcrumbs, and I am fascinated. I still and I think this is my one of my problems with these types of games. Um, I'm I get to a certain point and I second guess my choices, and I go, "I think I'm playing the game wrong." And there is no wrong way to play the game if you're having fun.
Correct.
So, have fun is my note to myself, and I am. So, I'm
Yeah.
very much looking forward to playing more. I think I'm about 12 hours in right now, and just enjoying it. Just enjoying the vibe, enjoying watching triangles fight each other on a screen.
Speaking of that, I did re-pick up Final Fantasy 7, the new iteration.
Yeah.
I haven't got the rebirth yet, but I did just, you had mentioned, and I actually editing our previous recordings here recently, and I heard you talking about being on the mission to go save Aerith, and I recently saved Aerith in Final Fantasy 7, the remake. So I just wanted to let you know that we're about the same place in the story.
Perfect. Perfect. But yeah, that's it, and that's it with us. Fucking relatable about that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
dude.
All
Mhm.
right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us here this
Yeah.
evening. We're looking forward to do some more live broadcasts. If you're looking for more Willfully Wrought, you can find us out on Podbean or Spotify, or if you have a platform from which you draw podcasts, with actually the exception of YouTube, we're on it.
I mean, we're here. We're on YouTube too.
Oh, no, YouTube has, like, a YouTube podcast, and we're not currently
Oh,
on that. I should probably get us on that. I'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
But yeah, wanted to thank you guys for joining us, and I appreciate it, and more episodes coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any questions or if there's a topic that you want us to address or talk about, send us a link, send us an email, send us a comment, leave us a follow on Facebook or Instagram. Heck, we have a TikTok. There's one video, but it's there. So, uh, but yeah, hit us up. We're always looking for new things to talk about. So we do this for you and for us, but mostly for you
And for us, but
and
no.
for us. Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Peace.